Learning Objective 3.0b is just solving word problems using a system. So the trick here is you're going to have to set up the system. We've practiced how to solve that, so that's just review. So let's practice setting it up. Here it says, how many 2-point and 3-point questions are on a test that has a total of 20 questions and 48 points? Well, what I know about this test is there's a total of 20 questions and there's a total of 48 points. So to solve a system when there's two unknowns, and our two unknowns here are 2-point questions and 3-point questions. So there's two unknowns, means you need two equations. The first thing I like to do is write down the unknowns. What do they want us to find? Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have x and y be my two things I need to find. X is the 2-point questions, and I'm going to put the number of. Y is the number of 3-point questions. Okay. Can I write two equations using x and y, one that would represent the total number of questions and one that would represent the total number of points? So I'll just put here as a little guideline, one will deal with the questions and one will deal with the points. Well, how many questions are there in total? Okay, there's 20 questions in total. So if you think about a test, how would you do that? You would count how many there are 2-pointers and you'd count how many there are 3-pointers and add it up. So you're just going to you're going to say all of the 2-point questions plus all the 3-point questions is 20 questions. Okay, that's one equation. The other equation deals with 48 points. So it totals 48 points, so I know that, and I have to think about how do I make 48 points out of these two variables. Well, however many questions there are for the x, if let's say there were 5 questions, if someone said how many points, I would say, well, there's 5 questions times 2 points, there's 10. I would do 2 times x. So that's what that is. What if there were 6 3-point questions? Well, I'd say 6 times 3 is 18. That's how many points it is. So then I would write 3y. This is your system, and now you can use any algebraic method to solve, either substitution or linear combination. I'm going to go with linear combination and get rid of the x's. Here's a 2x, so this needs to be a negative 2x. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 2 and multiply it through. That'll give me negative 2x minus 2y. Don't forget to multiply it by the 20 minus 40. So then I'll rewrite that other second equation so it's nice and lined up. Okay. Add straight down. Negative 2x plus 2x falls out. Negative 2y plus 3y is 1y. Negative 40 plus 48 is 8. So here we go, y equals 8. Now, you wouldn't go to your teacher and say, oh, y equals 8. You would say, what do you mean? You would come back and say there are 8 3-point questions. So that's part of the answer. Well, if there's 8 3-point questions, how do you find how many 2-point questions there are? Well, just like we did before, put y of 8 back into this equation. If you do that, it would say x plus 8 equals 20. To solve, you would subtract 8 from both sides and get 12. Then you can answer that. Well, what is x? Put it in a real life context, because this is a word problem. You wouldn't say, oh, x is 12. You would say, oh, there's 12 2-point questions. And we have actually answered the question. Let's look at this example dealing with money. So we have quarters and dimes in our pocket, and there's only 2 scenarios, and we have quarters and dimes. We know we have 35 coins, so I'm going to circle that, and I know it totals $6.05. What do they want to know? They want to know how many quarters and dimes we have. So what are the unknowns? Well, quarters and dimes. So first thing you want to do is define your variables. And I'm going to use Q and D because that makes sense to me. And this is number of quarters. I'm just going to abbreviate. And this is number of dimes. Okay, so I know I use Q and D. Well, I need 2 equations. What is one equation going to deal with? This thing right here, the number of coins. So one of them, equation, is going to equal 35. The other equation deals with this guy right here, the amount of money, because that's different. So we have count of coins and then how much money. So I'm going to put $6.05. Now when you write the equation, we don't normally put in the dollar sign in there because that's just more of a final label. Okay, how can we finish this off? How can you use the number of quarters and number of dimes to complete this first equation? Well, you need 35 in total. So imagine they're laying out at a table. What do? Well, you're going to count all the quarters, Q, plus you're going to count all the dimes, D, and there should be 35. To write the second equation, this is the value of it. So we're still using Q and D, so I'm actually just put Q and D back in here, but think about what to write with it. If this is a value of the money, how much is the value of a quarter? Well, quarter's 25 cents. So each quarter is 25 cents. So imagine this. What if you had 8 quarters in your pocket? What's it worth? Well, 8 times 25 cents is $2. Okay. What's the value of a dime? Well, it's 10 cents. If you have 10 dimes in your pocket, you'd put 10 in for D and you'd say you have $1. So now what we just did is we just created a system of equations. You can solve this however you'd like. I'm going to mix it up and let's do substitution this time. I'm going to take the first equation and either solve for Q or D would be the easiest. I'm going to get D by itself. I'm just choosing that. So to do that, I'm going to subtract Q from both sides. When I do that, I'll get D equals 35 minus Q. So I know D is this value, and I used the first equation. I have to go back to the second equation and find the D, which is right here. This whole piece goes into there. Okay? So 0.25 Q plus, I'm just going to put 0.1, because that's the same as 0.10, 35 minus Q equals 6.05. Okay, I have to distribute through that 0.1. So here's what I'm going to get. It's 0.25 Q plus 3.5 minus 0.1 Q equals 6.05. I'm going to add my like terms. 0.25 minus 0.1 is going to be 0.15 Q plus 3.5 equals 6.05. Okay. To get Q by itself, I'm going to have to move the 3.5, so it's plus, so I'm going to subtract. So get out your calculator, do 6.05 minus 3.5. You're going to get 2.55 equals 0.15 Q. To get Q by itself, divide by 0.15 on both sides. And this should tell us how many quarters there are. So use your calculator, take that, divide it by 0.15. This comes back that there are 17 quarters. Okay, great. 17 quarters are in my pocket, so I'm going to take that value, put it back into this equation. If there's 17 quarters, then there's plus so many dimes, gets me 35. Subtract 17 from both, there's going to be 18 dimes. Again, answer the question. You're not going to tell someone, hey, D is 18. You're going to say, all right, there's 18 dimes and 17 quarters. And that's your answer. Let's look at another. At an ice cream shop, one customer pays $9 for 2 sundaes and 2 milkshakes. I'm going to kind of highlight that, box it off. A second customer pays $13 for 2 sundaes and 4 milkshakes. How much did the sundae and milkshake cost? Well, if you're at the store, you're just going to look up at the menu and check the price, but let's say we didn't know this. We could figure it out. We have 2 unique scenarios. What do we need to know? We want to know the cost of the sundaes and the milkshakes. So I'm going to define my variables, and I'm going to use X and Y. I was going to use S and the M. I don't like using an S because my S's tend to turn into 5s, and I think they're a number. So I'll just put sundaes and then milkshake, abbreviate there. And how much does each one cost? So this is the cost of it. Okay. So let's write our first equation. The first one I know totaled $9 for the customer one, so that's $9. Well, they bought 2 sundaes. How much was each sundae? I don't know, X. Plus they bought 2 milkshakes. How much was each one? I don't know, Y. Customer 2 spent $13 in total. They bought 2 sundaes at X price and 4 milkshakes at Y price. Solve any method. I am going to use linear combo, and I'm going to choose in this case to get rid of the X's. They're both 2's. I'm just going to make one -2. To make the first one a -2, I'll multiply by -1. Multiply through. So I'll get -2x minus 2y equals negative 9. Then I'm going to put that second equation there to keep it nice and lined up. That's my system. Add down. The x's cancel. Negative 2y plus 4y is 2y. Negative 9 and 13 is 4. I'm almost done. Divide by 2. Y is 2. What did that mean, by the way? It meant that the milkshakes, so I'm going to put cost of milkshake is $2. Okay, let's find the cost of the sundaes. So I'm going to take the $2 for the y. I'm going to put it right in there. Come on back. Will give me 2x plus 2 times 2 equals 9. 2x plus 4 equals 9. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides and get 2x equals 5. Divide by 2. X is going to be $2.50 for each sundae. And we got it. Let's set up this last one. David bought 3 DVDs and 4 books at $40 total. Okay. Then Anna came in and she bought 1 DVD and 6 books for $18. How much did each DVD and book cost? Okay, this is like the last one. So the two things I want us to find, I'm going to define DVDs and books, and I'm going to use D and B this time, and it's the cost, so the dollar of DVDs and the dollar per the book. Okay, can you write the two equations? Okay, this first one is David spent $40 in total. I bought 3 DVDs. I don't know how much each one costs, and he bought 4 books. Anna spent $18. She bought 1 DVD, and she bought 6 books. Okay, to solve this, I think I'm going to use actually substitution this time. The one that's easy to get by itself is this single D. So to do that, I'm going to minus the 6b from both sides. Okay, and that gives me, I'm just going to say D equals 18 minus 6b. Okay, so I use the second equation. D is this whole piece. So I have to go to the first equation that I didn't use yet, find the D, which is right here. That whole thing goes into there. And let's rewrite. So 3 times 18 minus 6b plus 4b equals 40. Let's distribute this through. 18 times 3, get a calculator, 54. 3 times negative 6b, negative 18b, plus 4b equals 40. Adding our like terms, negative 18 and 4 is negative 14b. 54 is 40. I'm going to subtract 54 from both sides. When you do that, we're going to get negative 14b equals negative 14. Divide by negative 14, and what we're going to see is b is 1. What did that mean? It meant that a book is $1. Okay, how much are the DVDs? I'm going to take that book value. I'm actually going to put that right into the second equation. That looks easier to solve. So then I'll say D plus 6 times 1 equals 18. Subtract 6 from both sides. 18 minus 6 is going to be 12. There's our answer. The DVD is $12. And we're done.